My name is Veronica Jacome, and I am a graduate student at UC Berkeley, and I'm also an artist. So I've lived in Berkeley now for 6 years. In some ways it feels like I've lived here more than many other places. So really in my last 6 years, I think my sort of identity has been like co-created through being in Berkeley, but also Zanzibar and France, and of course sort of Venezuela is always on my mind. I started ceramics while I was in Berkeley, so definitely doing ceramics. I don't know whether I used to look at my surroundings the way I used to before ceramics, but certainly after ceramics, I'm constantly thinking about inspiration, which has really changed my relationship to urban spaces and to spaces in general. Earlier today, I was walking into my office and I looked at the floors, you know, and they were worn out, and it's this new, like, sort of gaudy building, and the steps were worn out, and I'm looking at the floor and I was just thinking, like, how can I recreate this? It's so interesting. Can I get what I see on like this walk in my art? These right here that I'll show are my first sort of cohesive set that I made. I remember specifically thinking about not just sidewalks, but the way in which when they get moist, or when it's raining out and half of it starts drying and the other half still has that moisture, just these amazing patterns that take shape, and they're super ephemeral and they don't last long. The first time I did pottery was in France in 2014 or 13. I was on my way back from doing field work for my PhD in Zanzibar, and in fact I was going to stay in Zanzibar a little bit longer, but I was sort of burnt out, and so I just bought the first ticket I could find anywhere and decided to go to France to visit my aunt and uncle. And there my aunt was doing ceramics, and she showed me, and I remember you know, she wanted to give me lessons, but I would say, no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to try. And she would leave to go to dinner with my uncle, and I would just sit there for hours trying. But I remember about my first piece was that I was very sort of excited that I was able to produce this bowl, right, this tiny bowl. To actually have something at the end was so rewarding. Well, so my favorite part of the ceramics process, I would have to say, is at this point it's the glaze, which is funny to even say it out loud because for so many years I hated it. It's like, you know, you work so hard to create something, to create the perfect thinness, the perfect weight, the perfect form, and that takes a very long time to master, and then the glaze just serves to ruin it, right? Because you made the glaze too thick, or you picked a color you actually don't like, or the color doesn't work when your shape is like this, but it works when your shape is like that. So there's all these things. Now it's a testament to how far I've come along, that is my favorite part of it. It's the part that I can sort of I visualize something, and that's where I finalize it. That's where I really bring things to life that I think about. This one is one of my more recent pieces, and this is sort of what I mean by when I say sort of glazing has now really come to sort of define my art in a way that before it didn't. And so I did this inspired by a Venezuelan town called Choroni. And Venezuela is where I'm from, and I have very vivid memories of this town. It's this beautiful, colorful beach town that has these amazing windows, and blue and red and pink sort of buildings all lined up against each other. Again, it's sort of a Venezuelan-inspired piece. What I thought about was sort of the walls that you see in homes that are often this like sort of vibrant color, and red specifically because of Chavez and socialism, and how it it starts to fall apart, not simply figuratively, but actually.
Y el pueblo debe decir si quiere guerra o quiere paz.
Now to the growing chaos in Venezuela. Both the opposition leader and President Maduro are calling for supporters to protest again today.
Once again, thousands of anti-government protesters swarmed the streets of Caracas, and security forces loyal to President Nicolas Maduro responded with force.
Hard to even think about Venezuela and its pain. But at the same time, my family who's still there, and there's still a lot, but there's not a lot of the sort of core. It's their home, they would never leave. So hard because you feel like you should be there, like you should be participating in the pain and in the process and in the and in the joy, because there's still a lot of joy, but like there's this sort of guilt. Yeah. I don't think I've seen my dad in it's been like 8 years since I've seen him, which is like kind of crazy. I mean, one thing that home doesn't mean is family, because I've never really lived near family, or not often. That's one of the reasons I always go to France, because for safety reasons I feel like I can't visit Venezuela, also because of passport nightmares. But in France, at least, I still have my aunt, my uncle, and my a cousin moved there, and so it still feels like there's a little bit of a reunion there. So the thing that I think pottery really helps me with, sort of emotionally and therapeutically, is that it really allows me to bring home what I think is an aesthetic that I've found to be home-like from other places. I'm very nomadic. It's sort of part of my upbringing.